Coming up on Sports Paws, the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team travels to Lake Placid for the ECAC semifinals.
And the Quinnipiac acrobatics and tumbling team welcome the Oregon Ducks in the top 5 matchup.
And we've got a full slate of spring sports heading into conference play.
All that and more on Sports Paws starting right now. Welcome into Studio 125 for another edition of Sports Paws. I'm Miranda Vittordi, alongside me is Jack Bergman.
There was a packed week of sports, so let's get right into the action. On Thursday, Jack Ricketts won the ECAC Best Defensive Forward Award for the 2024-2025 season. The graduate forward was second in the ECAC in goals scored with 14 and had 5 assists in the regular season.
Ricketts had a total of 33 block shots, putting him 3rd overall and 1st among forwards for the Bobcats. The other finalists for the award were Brown's Max Scott and Clarkson's Brian Richardson. Following Quinnipiac's sweep of Brown in the ECAC quarterfinals, the Bobcats turned their attention to Lake Placid.
They took on the Cornell Big Red, looking to punch their ticket to the ECAC finals. These two teams facing off for the 4th time this season, this edition taking place at the historic Herb Brooks Arena in Lake Placid, New York. Reigning ECAC Defender of the Week, Elliot Kronwald, and the Bobcats looking to reach this championship game for the first time since 2022.
Will this be the year they finally beat the Placid curse? Picking up action late in the first period, Cornell is on the power play with chaos in front of the net. Jonathan Castagna cashes in 5 seconds left in the opening frame, giving the Big Red the lead heading into the first intermission.
Into the second period, the Bobcats strike back, and it's Andon Sorbonne on the man advantage. He'll bury that one after the face-off win, tying this game up and extending his point-scoring streak to 9 games.
Now in the third period, Chris Pelosi gets the rebound from Charlie Letty's long-range shot and finds the back of the net, giving Quinnipiac a 2-1 lead with just over 5 minutes remaining in regulation play.
The Bobcats looking to seal the deal, but with 1 minute and 50 seconds left, Cornell ends up taking a penalty, but they'll create their own offense with a 2-on-1 rush up the left side. Kyler Kovic capitalizes. A sharp angle shot from the goal line beats Monte Marinoff to tie the game at 2 with under 2 minutes to go in regulation.
And it's the 3rd straight matchup with these two teams to go to overtime. In the extra frame, Cornell with pressure in Quinnipiac's zone, they will draw a penalty, and Drew Hockley is going to head off for slashing.
And on the man advantage, Dalton Bancroft passes to Tim Rigo, and he buries the one-timer, sending the Big Red back to the championship game for the 2nd consecutive season. The defending champions will play on, extending head coach Mike Schaefer's career.
Ryan Walsh picks up the 2 assists in the win. Cornell went on to defeat Clarkson in the championship game, while Quinnipiac secured an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament.
During Selection Sunday, the Bobcats found out their fate. Q30's Zach Stokinger has the entire bracket breakdown.
Thanks, Jack and Miranda. The Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team fell to the Cornell Big Red in a 3-2 overtime thriller in Lake Placid. The Bobcats will now turn their attention to the NCAA tournament, where they drew the Yukon Huskies. Bobcats, in their 6th straight NCAA tournament appearance, they lead the NCAA. 3 key players for the Bobcats: Travis Treelor, Cooper Moore, and Monte Marinoff. Now, it comes into question with Marinoff, will he get the start over Dylan Silverstein after the loss to Cornell? Looking ahead to Yukon coming off a 5-2 loss to Maine, who is also in their bracket. We'll take a look at that a little bit later. They are making their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. Some of the key players to look out for: Joey Maldoni, a sophomore with 45 points, a plus 26 player. Ryan Tattle, 18 goals, 14 assists with 32 points. He scored 2 goals in the only ever matchup this year between the Bobcats and Yukon in the CTI semifinals. And we are going now to move ahead to the Allentown Regional. The Bobcats and the Yukon Huskies, the 3-2 matchup, but the 1-4 matchup is the University of Maine Black Bears against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Both the Bobcats have played both of these teams this year, beating Penn State and losing to Maine twice. Now moving on from the Allentown Regional, we have the full 16-team NCAA bracket. The Cornell Big Red, who went on to beat Clarkson in the ECAC Finals, will take on number 2 Michigan State. Boston College has the number 1 overall seed. Guess who else is in their regional? It's the 2024 champions, the Denver Pioneers. Other brackets include Western Michigan at number 4 and Minnesota at number 5 in the North Dakota region. Well, that's all the time we have here. Jack and Miranda, back to you.
Switching from the ice to the mat, the acrobatics and tumbling team welcomed the Oregon Ducks in a top 5 matchup. Quinnipiac looking to keep their undefeated record alive this season, and Oregon looks to win their first away meet of the one. It's also senior day at the bank, and the Bobcats come in, they're ready to get firing. We head into the compulsory event. Quinnipiac gets to work early and is in sync, spotting a clean tuck toss. This one will get them a 9.95 in for the Bobcats. As we move into the Acro section, Cassidy Koo will balance a back arch on Samira McPherson, who will then slide down into a split during the 5-element heat. This one will score a 9.65 for Oregon as they get rolling into the pyramid event. The Ducks are back with Sula Bell completing a clean full down from a pike, receiving a 9.95 in the open heat. Quinnipiac leads Oregon at the half. We'll go to the toss section as Catherine Coca gets Quinnipiac a 9.8 with her full twisting toss here, but the twisting's not going to stop as the teams head into tumbling. Morgan Willingham from Oregon rocks a front tuck round-off back handspring full through to a round-off full. It's very close between the Ducks and the Bobcats now as Oregon gives us another look at their pyramid skills, and Quinnipiac wows the crowd with more tosses. The Bobcats had a narrow lead, but the Ducks are able to pull through. Oregon takes down Quinnipiac with a final score of 272.38 to 271.165. It's number 2's Quinnipiac first home loss since 2022, with number 4 Oregon being their highest ranked opponent of the season so far.
Hey Miranda, you were at the Acro meet this weekend, right?
I sure was. There was a lot to talk about. Take a look at my recap of the meet and what's to come for the team. The Quinnipiac acrobatics and tumbling team was defeated by the Oregon Ducks in a close matchup today. This makes this their first home loss since March 19th of 2022. The Bobcats were leading the meet until the team portion of competition and ultimately fell by a score of 272.38 to 271.165. Even though the score sheets show a loss, head coach Marianne Powers doesn't feel that it was.
Today wasn't a loss for me at all. I'm going to tell you something. They had 5 points in start value out of the gate. And I felt like we'd have to have our A game on. We had that A game on till team routine, and that for me is maybe some breathing exercises and a couple tweaks that maybe I could do better, not them.
Although this meet snapped their undefeated season and their home win streak, they've battled through many obstacles to keep it that way as long as possible. There's been one issue that's proven larger than the rest thus far.
Our biggest thing this year has been, quite frankly, 5 season-ending injuries for 5 starters. And so this team has been in recovery for the past 2 months, and we're now getting to the point where we can perfect things. So I think we're in a really good position.
Despite the defeat today, Coach Powers is confident on where they'll land for the postseason. Their likely opponent in that situation? The very one that they lost to today.
I think we're going to meet them again. I'm confident. I'm confident it's going to put us in the 3 position. The scores are up there for the 3 position, which means if we do what we have to do in the quarterfinals, we're probably going to see them again, and I think I can do some damage. And that's saying a lot because Oregon's coach and Oregon's program is phenomenal.
With all the success that the team has had so far this season, there's still room for improvement and consistency upgrades, especially in the team event.
I want them to hit that team routine. I want them to go in not thinking, will we? I want them to go in knowing we will.
The Bobcats will look to keep this as their only home loss as they go into Friday against AIC. Reporting for Q30 Sports, I'm Miranda Patorti.
The women's basketball team played in the WBIT first round against the Big East Seton Hall Pirates on Thursday. But Quinnipiac was defeated 57-40, and the Bobcats shot under 30% as a team. Jackie Grisdale led the Bobcats in scoring with 15 points, going 3 for 8 from behind the arc. Quinnipiac finishes its season with an impressive record of 28-5.
On the men's side, 3 Bobcats put their names into the transfer portal this week. Reigning MAAC Player of the Year Amari Monroe entered the portal on Saturday, coming off a career-high year. He averaged over 18 points and 9 rebounds per game and recorded 14 double-doubles. He's already gotten interest from multiple Power 5 programs. Entering the portal today was fellow big man Paul Otieno, who will exercise his JUCO option after 3 years in Hampden. The Kenyan center made the All-MAAC first team after putting up over 13 points and 8 rebounds per game.
Senior guard Doug Young also used his JUCO option and entered his name into the portal earlier today. Young was a key bench piece for Quinnipiac, averaging over 5 points a game this season. It's not all bad news for Bobcats fans, though. All-rookie guard Jaden Zimmerman announced on social media that he'll be back next season. Zimmerman scored 11 points per game on over 45% shooting.
We have to take a short break here on Sports Paws, but when we come back, we'll have coverage of baseball's MAAC opener weekend from the home plate to the fences, as Quinnipiac took on Marist for a 3-game series.
And we'll keep our eye on the ball, swinging over to softball for the home opener with Iona. Don't go anywhere. Sports Paws will be back in a bit.
Did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Do you enjoy debating Quinnipiac sports?
That's all flash, no catch. She didn't net it in the back of the net. That's not even a goal.
What are you doing pulling out rhymes?
That's like a crossover with a missed layup.
Bobcat Breakdown is the place for you, with debate, analysis, and so much more.
Mate Marinov. He is good, but oh man, is he bad. And
that team is amazing. How do you not put Fairfield women's volley?
Tune in to Bobcat Breakdown every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on Q30TV.com/watch.
No, I'm not gambling.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. This past weekend, the Bobcats took on the Marist Red Foxes. On Friday, Quinnipiac dominated Marist 12-4, scoring 8 runs in the 3rd inning. Christian Smith, Cole Constable, and Gabe Wright all recorded RBIs. Adding on to that, graduate student Sean McCulloch had 2 RBI singles of his own, and CJ Willis put the nail in the coffin with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 6th.
First-year pitcher Sam Wright had another successful start for the Bobcats in Friday's win. Q30's Spencer Decker has the details.
Despite having a rough start in non-conference play, Quinnipiac first-year pitcher Sam Wright has now made a big impact on this Bobcat squad and has earned a lot of trust from his head coach, John Delaney.
Today, I mean, he's got command of all his pitches in the zone, which is what makes him effective. And when he's got his stuff going, I mean, his velocity is really pretty good. But when he has his off-speed going on top of that, he's a tough kid to face. And for a freshman, I mean, he's in a big role as a freshman, which is something he's earned. So Sam's just done a good job with keeping his composure in a spot that not most of the time is not really a freshman's spot. So.
Head coach John Delaney knew that Sam Wright would have some special talent after watching him through some of the fall practices.
His stuff throughout the fall was above average, and he had command of all his stuff, so he had this confidence behind it where he could throw any pitch in any count, which is very rare for someone at that point. And then I think as you get into the spring, I mean, there's a little bit different competitiveness in the fall versus spring, and a little bit less pressure in the fall versus spring, so things change. You know, we've seen good outing this weekend. We just got to see the consistency moving forward.
And despite being a first year, Sam Wright has adapted into a leadership role, which he has taken on very well.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to pitch this year, and Coach said I would get opportunities, and I've kind of done everything I could to get in this spot. But yeah, just being a freshman and kind of taking that leadership role is awesome, and I'm going to take it on as best I can.
After some very good outings on the mound, Sam is looking forward to pitching next weekend.
Just doing everything I can do to kind of control the controllables. Like in the off season, I kind of had a shoulder injury, so just getting in the weight room, getting in the trainers, just keeping my shoulder healthy and trying to control everything I can.
Now with his start today, Quinnipiac pitcher Sam Wright most likely will not play the rest of the series, but the Bobcats have 2 more games to finish out this one against the Marist Red Foxes. Reporting for Q30 Sports, I'm Spencer Decker.
After a strong Game 1 from the Bobcats, they look to win the series in Game 2. It's Game 2 of Quinnipiac Baseball's second home stint of the year. They'll look to improve to 7-1 in MAAC play. Right out of the gates in the first inning, the Bobcats hit 2 sac flies to get themselves on the board, including this one from Christian Smith. It's 2-0 after 1. Bobcats in the lead early. In the second inning, the Red Foxes quickly answered back with a single and a sac fly of their own, tying the game 2-2. Next up, Mike Poncini walks Jason Claiborne to give the Red Foxes the lead. Now, on to the fourth inning. CJ Willis hits a dinger of a home run, tying the game at 3 apiece. And after an inning of pitching dominance, guess what? Double trouble. CJ Willis is back up again. Deja vu, hitting that one all the way back to Poughkeepsie. The big man rattles one out of the state all the way back to Marist territory. Enter the 8th inning. Marist working to get back in the game. They hit a double, a triple, and a single to add on 3 more runs. The Red Foxes now hold a 2-run lead over the Bobcats, and the score is now 6-4 in Marist's favor. Just as they thought it was wraps for QU, Alex Irizarry slugs a 3-run ball over the fence to give the lead back to the Bobcats heading into the 9th. Now for the Red Foxes, it's going to be all or nothing. And guess what? This home run derby never seems to stop. Brady Steiner hits a 2-run homer, putting Marist up 1. They look to seal the deal in the last half inning of play. In the bottom of the 9th, full pressure, CJ Willis has a chance to win the game. He's hit it. It's going. I don't know where it is, but it's caught at the fence. Marist snags that one, and by mere feet, they escape defeat, narrowly beating Quinnipiac with a final score of 8-7. The series finished off the next day at 1 p.m.
In the rubber match on Sunday with the series on the line, Quinnipiac starting pitching gave up 5 runs in the first 2 innings, forcing them to play catch-up the whole game. Missed opportunities were a common theme, and a total 19 runners were left on base. Even after an offensive surge for the Bobcats in the 8th inning, they would ultimately fall 7-4, dropping the series 2-1. After over 10 hours of baseball this weekend, there's sure to be a lot to discuss.
Head coach John Delaney spoke to me about what went wrong in the series. On Friday, the Quinnipiac Bobcats defeated the Marist Red Foxes, but were unable to secure the weekend series after dropping back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday due to a couple of issues on both sides of the ball. The Bobcats were limited to just a single hit in the first 3 innings, and Marist got up to a 5-0 lead heading into the 4th, forcing Quinnipiac to play catch-up the entire game. Coach Delaney discussed the team's struggles throughout the first few innings.
They got ahead, and they just, they did a good job. Like their starter did a good job mixing his pitches. Like he started to have command of it, and then their bullpen guys did a good job. So I mean, they isolated us. So then we didn't really get any momentum going until late. So I mean, it's one of those games where, the offense got isolated a little bit. We need better pitching, and that was kind of the difference maker.
After the Bobcats dropped the weekend to the preseason poll's number 8 seed, the formerly ranked number 4 Bobcats look to surge back into the win column.
When you lose a series to somebody, doesn't matter who it is, when you lose a series, you gotta make it up along the way. I mean, we're trying to win a conference title, right? That's what we're trying to do, which means at the end of the day, if you look back on it, you probably have to win every single series of the season. So when you lose a series, you got to make it up along the way.
Although this squad is looking for a conference title, Coach Delaney makes sure his players are focused on the present to maximize their success.
That's how simplified I make it, is I'm literally day to day with the whole thing, and that's how our players need to look at it, is not looking at next weekend. It's more of just all right, we got Tuesday midweek. Then we switch the switch to the weekend, and you got to focus on Friday. Like, you can't win the series without winning Friday.
The Bobcats look to recuperate this weekend's tough loss against URI on Tuesday and Manhattan over the weekend. Reporting for Q30 Sports, I'm Jack Bergman.
Quinnipiac softball made their home debut this weekend, playing in their first conference games of the season. The Quinnipiac softball team taking on the Iona Gales in their MAAC opener, and it's a doubleheader on Saturday. Starting right off in the first inning, Brooke Acro would get the Gales going with a 2-run triple, hitting it deep into right field and right over the head of Aaron Bombery. This will give Iona a 2-0 lead to open up the game.
After no runs were scored in the second inning, we move to the third. Brooke Acro strikes again with an RBI single along the first base line to put the preseason poll's number 6 seed up by 3 after just 3 innings of play.
Going into the 5th inning, the Bobcats will not go down easy, and it'll be Sophia Vega who will come up with a clutch RBI triple, scoring Mary Fogg. This cuts Iona's lead only to 1. Quinnipiac would tie the game on a Natalia Apatega's fielder's choice later in the inning.
But for now, check out that celebration from the Bobcats in the dugout for their first beacon of hope so far today. In the top of the 6th inning, Brianna Bailey would give Iona the lead with an RBI single to put them up 4-3. The Bobcats would be unable to recover, and this score would stay for the remainder of the first game.
And after dropping that first game of MAAC play, Quinnipiac would look to split the day with Iona, moving into game 2. But the Gales will start this one hot, already up 3-0, as Sarah Pena hits a 2-run triple that scored Kennedy Gonzalez and Brooke Acker. This will put the Gales up, 5-0.
In the 6th inning, Haley Guerrero up to bat, see the ball, hit the ball, moon rocket out of this park. Call this the end of the show. Good night, Bobcats. It's the curtain call on the day. She clears the right field fence with her second home run of the game. Big Selly at home plate after her massive hit.
And the rest of this one will be all Gales. They'll finish the day with a score of 9-1. Despite the losses, it was an exciting opening day at home with the doubleheader.
Q30's Olivia Gruber has the recap.
With the first 17 games being on the road between Nashville, Tennessee, Orlando, Florida, and Columbia, Missouri, the Bobcats are finally back at home and striving for the MAAC tournament.
Whatever it takes to win. Our goal this year is to make that tournament, and we want it really bad. The seniors deserve it, and whatever we have to do tomorrow to win, we're going to do it. If we have to be here at 8 in the morning and hit early, whatever it takes, we're going to do it. Just whatever it takes.
Head coach Hillary Smith talks about how she made the schedule prior to conference play and the first home games of the season.
Well, we made our schedule on the preseason before conference play, wanting to challenge ourselves. I mean, we played a lot of Power 5 schools. We competed a bunch of them, like one-run games, extra innings. We came out on top. We felt like we were ready for this, and I just don't know what happened today.
But it is all good vibes as the Bobcats head into their next game.
The good thing about softball is you get to have a short memory. We get to be able to come back out tomorrow and just play the game we know how to play, because the team that showed up today, we know we're better than that. That wasn't us.
The Bobcats will be back in action against the Iona Gales on Sunday, with first pitch slated for noon to finish up the 3-game series. For Q30 Sports, I'm Olivia Gruber.
On Sunday, the Bobcats had one more chance against the Gales. Quinnipiac had 7 hits but was held scoreless by Iona's Allison Hopp, losing 4-0. The Bobcats also struggled on the field, allowing 7 errors against the Gales. The bright spot was seen from the pitcher's mound as Quinnipiac's Sydney Horan allowed 4 runs in the loss but tied her career high with 11 strikeouts. The Bobcats dropped to 0-3 to open conference play.
The men's and women's lacrosse teams face Canisius and Iona to start conference play.
Q30's Christina Semenes has all we need to know from the weekend.
Thanks, guys. I'm here at the Quinnipiac Lacrosse Stadium to recap a jam-packed weekend of MAAC home openers. On Saturday, both teams were in action here in Hamden for a doubleheader. First, the men's lacrosse team faced off against Canisius in a 10-9 loss. This was the Bobcats' first game back at home since February 22nd. It was an extremely close game, and Justin Rober and Trevor Douglas both scored hat tricks. The game-winning goal was scored by Canisius with 2 minutes and 11 seconds remaining. They will play Manhattan next in Riverdale on Wednesday. An hour later, the women's lacrosse team played Iona in their first game of MAAC play. They dropped the game 16-7, but despite the loss, first-year goaltender Shannon Alden showed out, making 11 saves. Mia Delmond and Anna Givens both scored a hat trick in the loss. This was the team's third straight loss as they look to bounce back next Saturday against Sacred Heart at home. That's all I have from the lacrosse stadium, but when Sports Paws returns, Jack and Miranda flash back to fall as they will reveal which Bobcat got nominated for a National Rugby Award. They'll also recap the top 5 Quinnipiac sports plays of the week. You won't want to miss it. Sports Paws will be right back after this commercial break.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Buckle up! Nobody is more prepared for an emergency than Dogman.
With all your kung fu skills and your canine fortitude or whatnot.
But for the rest of us, a good plan goes a long way.
Come on, let's go!
So, whether it's an unexpected disaster or the world's most evilest cat bent on destroying all do-gooders,
Destroy all do-gooders!
you can help your family be ready for anything.
No time to waste. Will you get out of here?
Get started today at ready.gov/kids.
Reporting from the Grove for Q30 News.
Reporting from the Miller Library for Q30 News.
Reporting from the Mount Carmel campus for Q30 News.
Reporting on Whitney Ave for Q30 News.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing we do to keep us focused.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game?
To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health.
Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health.
Find the resources you need to keep your mental health a priority.
Love your mind.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Continuing with lacrosse, Maggie Kennedy secured MAAC Defensive Player of the Week honors. In the game against Iona on Saturday, she had a career-high 5 caused turnovers, contributing to the team's season high of 16. Also collected 3 ground balls. This is her second career weekly award.
Women's rugby graduate student Anna Van Dyke was nominated for the 2024-2025 M.A. Sorensen Award. Van Dyke was nominated after being a first-team All-NIRA selection this fall. She had 5 tries, 70 tackles, and a 96% tackle completion percentage. On offense, she had 103 carries and 471 meters gained. Former Bobcat and Olympian Alona Marr won the award in 2017.
Passing it to the pros, former Bobcat Hannah Furch made her pro debut on Sunday for TC Gemini in Women's Elite Rugby. Furch played for Quinnipiac from 2020 to 2024 and was a 2023 All-NIRA selection. She had 95 carries, 340 meters gained, and a 92% tackle completion percentage in 2023.
On Saturday, the Bobcats dominated Marist on the tennis courts. The women's team went 5-1 in singles and won the doubles point, securing their second MAAC win of the season. Willow Renton and Caitlin Flower moved to 2-0 as a doubles team in MAAC play. Men's tennis also won 5-2. They claimed 4 of 6 singles matches and the doubles point to secure victory. Daniel Valek and James Lorenzetti lock up their second doubles win in MAAC play.
Moving on to Sunday, women's tennis swept LIU 4-0 in their first matchup in Hamden. The squad won the doubles point after Willow Renton and Caitlin Flower took 1 doubles, and Jordan Bradley and Ella Lewis won by walkover. In singles, Annika Shankar and Vera Secarino defeated their opponents, and Ella Lewis won by walkover. On the men's side, they also defeated LIU, but in a close 4-3 matchup. The doubles point was secured after Daniel Valek and James Lorenzetti, as well as Yasha Laskin and Elias Huxell won their matchup. Valek and Alex Yang got singles wins, but it was Finn Burridge with his singles win that secured the victory for the Bobcats. They've now won each of their last 3 matchups.
Unfortunately, we've only got a little time left today, But it's time that the night changes.
There's only one direction left to go, and that's towards the top 5 plays. Play number 5, we're hitting the courts. Match point for Finn Burrich. The sophomore caps a 40-second volley by getting his opponent to hit the ball out of bounds. The Bobcats will walk it off 4-3.
Play 4 in Lake Placid. Charlie Letty fires the puck on net, and Chris Pelosi gets Ian Shane on his belly. He'll clean it up and score. Quinnipiac would drop it in overtime 3-2.
Play 3 on the mats now. Tiffany Smith in the open tumbling heat. 3 whipbacks into the 1.5 twist. She earns a 9.75 for the Bobcats.
Play 2, hitting the diamond, Alex Irizarry swinging a drive, a no-doubter to left center. 3 runs come across the plate. It's the sophomore's second homer of the season.
Play 1, who doesn't love more Acro, as Alyssa Dillon and Emily St. Ange achieve near-perfect synchronization in the compulsory toss. They'll score a 9.95, narrowly missing that perfect 10-0.
Thanks for sticking with us for a full 30 minutes of action. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and X at Q30 Sports and subscribe to Q30 Television on YouTube.
Thank you to all the producers and people working hard behind the scenes to make the show possible. He's Jack Bergman, I'm Miranda Patorti, and have a good night, Bobcats.